Oh, Christ on a crutch. What is up? What is up? Apologize for all of the difficulties this morning. Matt Burzall here, joining here on Husker Hangover. Thank you so much for joining along. My YouTube folks, I should be all right here, but it could be a couple minutes here, so we're just going to stall out. Nebraska wins another game, thank God, and almost bowl eligible as we make it to 5-1 in a game against Rutgers that I wasn't 100% sure what I thought was going to happen there. I don't have any headphones, but it is what it is. We got something going on, I believe. All right. So, got everything fixed. Thank you guys for your patience. Think that everybody will be on the call here. We'll stall here for a little bit. Work some stuff out today. I do have to figure out this headphone thing though, real quick. Matt Hoskinson will join the show. I know what I probably have to do. Matt Hoskinson will join us here at some point in time. I have got him. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hopefully we're up and running. We're just going to keep messing with this thing though. Main reason, as far as I can figure out, for the tech issues was that I tried to get everything set up with what am I on? I am on. Hello. This would help. Hello. There we go. Now we got everything. All right, perfect. We are back in business. So, having some problems trying to get it on a couple other platforms, trying to get it onto TikTok or not TikTok, trying to get it on Twitter, and Twitter is giving me difficulties as we speak. So we have things somewhat figured out, and this is what happens when you try to be your own one-man show here and get everything figured out all at one time, but you are not that great at technology, so it is what it is. Camera fell off the hook today. Thought I broke that. Thought I busted that, but yeah, what are you going to do? Morning, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Have a message out to Haas. He is going to join the show. The original plan was 8. I went into a panic mode as that happened because panic or that is not really my gig. We're just going to send him one more text and see if Haas is able to join us. But anyway, welcome into the show. Thank you guys so much for your patience. You guys are awesome. And our Nebraska team, we won a one-score game. It didn't have to be a one-score game. Should have been a much more lopsided victory for Nebraska. But as we've seen in the past, things have always kind of gone that way. And we've always struggled a little bit with what has happened. And now we're a resilient team. That one, all right, we got a deal. Perfect. Winning is hard, and winning can be taken for granted, and things like that happen, and that's the way that goes. But Nebraska just found a way. It isn't pretty. And as I've said before, we're not necessarily, an edge CFP team. Realistically, this is still a team on the build, and they're tough, and they've got cool stories. Now, the Williams kid basically was got a tryout, was in a tryout camp, and they saw something they liked about him. He came in, was running a scout team. These are the building blocks of what Nebraska football could be at some point in time, right? So it's just one of those things this is what we are, and the games don't have to be pretty, and they don't have to be 42-7 games, but they're wins. I mean, it's It's all we can really deal with. I'm just happy that the fellas won. They were in one. I mean, they were in a back and forth game. We will discuss special teams as the comments section goes crazy right now about everything that's going on with special teams. Credit to the coaching staff, credit to the players, credit to the opponent. Okay. I forever will be a Shiano guy because he gets people fired up and he gets them to play above where they should be, and he gets them going. Like he gets them to play, man. And they play hard and they play fast. Thankfully, at the quarterback position, they probably aren't as skilled as we are. At the running back position, they have got a dude, I think it was Walter last week or maybe Ken, that tried to warn everybody about the running back. That was a good warning. Either one of you, thank you for that. But thankfully for us, their offensive coordinator likes to call plays in a manner that Nebraska's offensive coordinator likes to call plays. It was quite a deal. I don't know why they went away from their run game the way they did. Especially, thank you, Walter, my nun guy. But they went away from a run game that I didn't think they needed to go away from. Very happy they did. Very ecstatic that they did. But shouldn't have done that. Real, first time we saw him maybe struggle a little bit. And I think Rutgers did a good job of switching up defenses, switching up coverages, trying to create confusion. It's a great building step as we kind of move through the season because I think more and more teams are going to do that. Teams are going to throw different things at him and throw different coverages and different looks and different blitzes because he is very intelligent. But now they're going to test that intelligence. They're going to look at it to see what he does. That's the way things should go. It's an evolution, and the kid's young, and he makes great throws. He puts the ball on people, and I think he is as advertised. We are ecstatic to have him, but he's going to continue to grow, and he's going to continue to lead, and he's going to continue to do all these things. Real proud of the offensive line. They were able in the second half when they were given the opportunity. For any of those that follow me on X, if you look at when I tweet on X, my little cheeky second half adjustments, they're all Rick rolls. If you look at the first letter of each phrase, that's really what I'm thinking about the game. This one ended up to spell out RTMFB. That was it was going. It wasn't going great, but it was going good. And I think when we hang our hat on something, especially with the three running backs we have, that we can hang our hat on that. You saw when he trusted him a little more and he ran him with it. They got a little bit. They got a little bit better, and they were kind of feeling it, and they were going, and it was okay. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was good. That's what I would love to see Nebraska hang their hat on. That's what I would love to see them get after. We'll probably have about 7 or 8 more minutes here because I'm guessing this. I know I got some folks on Facebook. Thanks. Shout out to Johnny Johnson, who has helped me out there, kind of behind the scenes, letting the people on Facebook know that we were having some issues. I originally fat fingered that. I was looking for 8:35, but 8:45. So welcome to my folks from Facebook. Good to have everybody in. We're going to read just a couple comments here as everybody's waiting. Thank you for not being too crazy in here as we were waiting to get going. But somebody here, who's this? Maddie Smith thought it was something to do with the dough. Nope, it didn't have anything to do with the dough. That is probably the only one thing that would cancel the show. If I show up and somehow the cooler doors or the coolers have malfunctioned, we would not have a show that day. Hey, shoot me some things you guys might want to do off week next week. Getting ready for, of getting ready for old Sig Signetti and Indiana. I may try to find, this is an idea I have for the off week. Okay. We have acquired a bay. It's my office, but it's got some room for seating. I may be able to get a speaker or two to come in, maybe around 10, and come in and just kind of give a first quarter synopsis of the year, maybe a little bit more in the quarter, but something we could do. I got to try to probably find a bartender to come in and maybe make some Bloody Marys, but let me know if that's something anybody would want to come down, hang out. We'll talk about the first part of the season, things that are good, things that are bad. Probably will be a no cell phone event. I like no cell phone events. Those have kind of happened a little bit more than haven't, but hit me in the comments there and I'll go back through and seem to look back through those. Larry says play calling seems to have been a tale of two halves. Is the same person calling plays both halves. Larry, that has been a topic of discussion on my personal texts through a lot of the game. My one source, who everybody knows, has been very stingy with that information. And he's been pretty slick when I try to ask him about it. He changes the subject very well. Very proud of him in that aspect because I'm trying to get some information. He is not giving me said information. So I feel that's very rude of him, but he feels that he is killing it, getting me off the topic. So I will continue to effort to figure that out. I do agree with you, though. I think that the play calling, there is a variance in it, and there is a difference in it, and it's frustrating to say the least. But it's definitely something to watch. If it is the same person doing it both halves, and they make adjustments, I'm good with it. Sometimes, though, the first half is better than the second half. So we'll see, I guess. My big notes for the game, as I was able to, the 3:00 kickoffs are great for me. People are down at the game, and we just have a bunch of carryouts, so I become kind of worthless at Paisan. So I sat and was able to, I didn't have to watch it on replay. I got to watch the whole thing. One of the first ones, that's why I mentioned Larry right out of the gate, is the play caller shuffle needs to deal a hand, meaning, okay, let's get one guy calling these things, whoever it is. Let's do this. Let's do this. Early, like I think Nebraska was a little bit amped up. There probably been some things that had happened in that. We just lost again defensively, a little bit of discipline. There's a run early by Rutgers where we got a little bit out of whack on a cutback angle. We should have stayed a little bit more at home. Should have stayed home and watched out for that. But and Rutgers is there to win too. So Rutgers is trying to get their MO established, which was running the ball and all those things. We were able to fight off a lot of that. So that was good. But through the game, Nebraska just progressed through. It was kind of back and forth. We were probing, they were probing. It was if you're a defensive football fan, it was a great day for you. But they took some chances I didn't think they needed to take. Fake to punt. Nope. Fake the field goal. And then, by the way, that was great too. Once they faked that field goal, that's that's another feather in Coach White's hat. And I know that's on special teams, but sometimes guys have a little bit of input on special teams. I know everybody's after Foley in the comments. That's fine. You're entitled to what you want to say. This is a free speech, free entity event. They did stop a fake PAT or a fake field goal. The rest of it, though, like the blocking up front, like new bodies either have to go in on that because those, again, are just simple counts where we have guys that aren't able to execute what's happening. When Nebraska got set up in their first punt situation, and I watched it, I was like, there is a numbers advantage on the right side, the snapper's right side, the offenses or the punting team's right side. When that happens, there's got to be a call that's made. This is another reason why I'm not a huge fan of defensive linemen, offensive linemen in the backfield for those things. Like, I would rather find a very intelligent and somewhat screw loose receiver, running back, linebacker, something along those lines. The way a lot of teams will handle it is when the numbers advantage isn't there and you just want to punt the ball. Okay. They want to block, you want to punt. You've got to tell your snapper has to become involved in the protection, which isn't, and that's just usually a simple, like in this instance, a word that starts with an R. Roger, Ramada, run, something. But he's got to help. His block doesn't have to be a world-ending block. He just has to be able to move to his right and bump somebody. He's got to get them off path with the proximity of the people in the locations of the alignment for the punt block. They're very close together. So if we can just get a bump on that guy, then you can knock one into two. It slows them down a tenth of a second. Punter punts the ball, away you go. I don't think the crew, and maybe they watched it. That was probably one thing I wasn't able to see. I didn't think they tipped it, but he thought they tipped it. But either way, Punter got rolled, laid out. It is what it is. Tim says, Husker fans need to wake up to the reality of the Big Ten. This isn't 1980s Big Eight. Winning is hard. Too many fans are simply incapable of understanding this. That's a good probably message for the day, is just perspective, right? If we keep a good perspective on things, which is what we are, my big goal for them was a bowl game this year. Okay. The great part about goals when you're good at them is that when you get to the point where you're going to achieve a goal, then you just move the goal. Okay. The first goal was, hey, let's get to a bowl game. It sounds blasphemous for us as Nebraskans to say that. It should be what we are every year, but we haven't been to one in 8 years. So getting to one is a big step in the rebuild of Nebraska. Okay. So now when they win the sixth game, I would move that goalpost to, let's get to a bowl game or go to a bowl game where the weather is warmer than where we are. Okay. So sorry, Pinstripe Bowl. I think we're involved in the Detroit Bowl. Sorry, Detroit Bowl. Well, let's get south. And that, if you look at what was remaining on the schedule, that's realistic. Like, you could get to a really, really nice bowl game because Indiana, good, still undefeated, won another game. It's okay. They're not us. We're not them. We're building our program. They're building their program. Great. I think if you look at the level of competition played, Nebraska has played a tougher level of competition than Indiana has. I don't think that's a grandiose statement, but as we continue to go, that's going to be a good game. And you're going to have time off to figure that out. You're going to have time to reset. You're going to have time to get healthy. You're going to have time to do all these things that can make you a better organization. All right. Ohio State, real good team. So, right, good teams win, great teams cover. Okay. When we get to that huge measuring stick, cover is a win. I know it's a defeatist mentality, but right now where we're at, cover is a win. Your offensive line's going to have their greatest test. Your defensive line's going to have their greatest test. Cornerbacks, safeties, linebackers, all going to have their best test of the season when you play that game. All right. USC lost to Minnesota at Minnesota. Don't think they're a world beater. I think they're good. Talent-wise, they're good. But I don't think they're a world beater. I'm not a huge Lincoln Riley guy. I'm going to forget somebody, I'm sure, in there, but UCLA, struggling a little bit. Good buddy of mine, John Peterson, his kid plays out there. He says, yeah, we're struggling. Okay, great. Your problem, not mine. Need to get that win. Wisconsin, Iowa, you know what they are. Great chance for you to grow as a player, as an organization, and great chance for you to evolve and win. So outside of Ohio State, I think everything on the table there is, if you're a percentage guy, I think you're above 50-50 in the majority of them, except USC. USC is probably 65-35 their way, maybe 60-40, but all those are there to take. So now when you win that sixth and you are bowl eligible, the next goal becomes, let's go to a warm weather bowl. Let's not go to a cold weather bowl. So I think those are all realistic things. Players that I was really impressed with in the game, even though he did get into a big old good collision at the goal line, is Bullock. I love what he does. The linebacker, Bullock, number 5. I really like how he plays. There's passion, there's enthusiasm, there's everything that you could want in a Nebraska football player. And it's great to watch. It's fun to see. Local kid. Again, I think a lot of what Nebraska needs can be built on local. So it's cool to see him get after it and go. Defensive line-wise, Ty Robinson, you saw what Ty Robinson can project at the next level. He's a zero technique. He's a head-up guy. He and Nash do a great job of controlling the middle. Every now and then they get washed, meaning they get shoved to the side where the offensive line wants them to go. But what the reason for that is very simple. They lose a little bit of their base when they do it, which is going to happen. It's just, can you limit the amount of times it happens? But when they needed pressure, Robinson was able to get pressure. So that's good. Judy, I talked about him quite a bit. Hoping to see more and more of him. I think Knighton does a really nice job of rotation during the game, keeping guys fresh because he trusts some of those guys that are in there now more. Awesome to see. But Judy is an explosive guy. Had a really nice play on a zone read early in the game. Step up the field, got flat, made a great tackle. So I think we want to base this on last year, and oh my gosh, this defense is just like last year, and da-da-da. It's rounding into that, right? And the secondary still had a couple communication breakdowns, still had some things maybe when it got to a little bit of a scramble drill where we lost eyes and we didn't trust, and they were able to complete some passes, but it wasn't anything I'm going to worry immensely about for the majority of the season. It's just something that I want to see evolve, see develop, see work, because that's what we are. We're a work in progress, and we're winning. It's more frustrating when you're not a work in progress and you're losing. But now we're resilient. We kind of fight. We stay in things. One phase of the game wasn't going very good, which was the special teams, and we just all kind of kept going. It's okay. Blocked a punt, blocked another punt, scored for a touchdown. Defense really didn't give up any points. But that's just, it is what it is. They've got to get that figured out, though. Foley and his crew have to get that figured out. All right, idea from Ken here on the off week. Video, our Husker fellows giving back to Husker Nation. GBR, always and forever. I have some pull. I don't have that much pull. I don't know if I can get a video out. When will we find out the kickoff time for the IU game tomorrow? I don't know, bud. I'm not sure what that'll do. Larry Lanning has a question. Have the teams we have played shown on defense that the tight end seam pass cannot be made? We recruit top tight ends. We try to use them in lateral passing game, which I feel has failed to work. Lanning, that's a great comment and a great eye. We have had success in the season able to hit Padone and Borgature in the seams or in the middle, right, of the field. It's a great use of the tight end. I am not a huge fan of the quick out with the tight end for this reason. I think the angle of the catch puts you in a difficult position to try to turn up field. Okay. Illinois did a great job of it against us to use it just to get a first down. We're gonna rip this little out. their quarterback didn't throw it probably as well as our quarterback does, but in the end, it worked pretty good for them. He threw them to the inside. Our QB throws it where it should be, which is to the outside, and they're catching it, and then they turn up and get a few more yards. That flat route thing is a great 3rd and 4 play. And if that wants to be Nebraska's 3rd and 4 identity, good with that. Because that one, you can hit that quick. I would like to see some more creativity on how you can use them. If we see some defenses that continue to play, like a too high look where they have 2 safeties, the tight end, we like to go up and in toward the middle of the field with the tight end to go up and out with the tight end, or even just hook him up after 10 yards. That I think is an area where we can really improve on. I think they can take advantage of the skill and the talent. Then I know we're still catching the ball back to the defender, but that's okay because you have big bodies. We catch that. It's a 10 to 12 yard play, but I think that then will open some stuff off on the shots that they like to take, which are outside and deep. Because if they know that tight end can sit just behind the linebacker, just in front of the safety, and then keep the outside flat player, which is the corner in a cover 2 defense, they can just keep him occupied with the receiver. That area should be open. Defenses that we play seem to be quick. Okay. They're quick to jump the tight end. So an interesting shot you could take is to run him on something like that, pump fake that, and then send him deep. So you're just hitch and go, because they know we want to get it to him. They know we want to involve them. They know if we take it away, they increase their odds, because instead of a mid-range pass, you don't have to throw a longer one or bail out down to the running back, which I'm also okay with. So yes, I do agree that I'd love to see some more creativity in involving those guys in the offense. It's a great point. Lance, the best pizza at Paisans for me, it's just our 55. It's a cheese pizza. But the general public, the top 4 sellers, the Omio Dio, the Haas, the Mahalo, and Slice Country. You really can't go wrong if you want to try those. You can get them all in one pizza if you want. We're glutton for punishment. We divide pizzas into quarters. Walter says loser to Wisconsin must end this season. Yes, I agree. I don't want that. Don't want that. Shout out to my guy, Greg Douchegott. He told me, he said Purdue's bad. Wisconsin will win by 100. They won by 104. But Purdue is not good. Not good at football. Ted says, thankful we were 5-1. Hope men heal up and get ready for that second half of the season. GBR. Yeah. Maybe we'll have this vision. We're going to be 6-0 and we're going to have 7-0 when we get to Ohio State. It didn't happen, but still chugging. Train's still moving. Just take the tractor another round. Just keep going. Awesome to see. Anthony says that was Pittsburgh Steelers football yesterday. It was. Random shout out to the special teams. Okay. I know it was bad. I know we had breakdowns in protection, but when we needed them, they did their job. I hope the report I saw was not real. I hope they practiced it during the week. Somebody put that they had practiced it at halftime, which I don't know how you're practicing that at halftime. If you go from the meeting room over to the Hawks, you take the whole punt team over to the Hawks, and then you run a fake punt, like, hey, we can do this. But they said they noticed the gunners for Rutgers, which are the outside guys that are trying to block our gunners, sorry. They would bail a little bit early. They were peeking. They were this, they were that. They were dropping them. They were getting picked up by somebody else. So that fake punt, phenomenal. Couple bombs by the punter to pin Rutgers deep a couple times. So good resilience by those gentlemen. Everything that went wrong, they still answered the bell. They got some things fixed. They were able to get off some great kicks. They were able to help affect the game. I know everybody's calling for heads. It's not going to happen right now, if it happens even at all. I think, too, in the scheme of it, as things are being rebuilt, the special teams probably needs to add a couple more practice periods that are a couple more intense. One thing I love to do I love coaching special teams. It's one of my favorites. I got to do it early in my career. I didn't do it as much later in my career. But when you're on your punt team, put 12 out there, give the defense a huge advantage, and then find overly competitive guys that don't want to lose. You can fix it that way. So those are things that they hopefully will look at. Did anyone know before yesterday that Tim Peck is the Vanderbilt OC? Shout out to some local flavor, the Rezek family, as a member of the Vandy football organization, was able to pull off quite the upset in beating Broadway down in Nashville. I bet they had a night. They had a night down there. Saw the goalpost walk down Broadway, so shout out to Vandy for pulling the upset of the year. Other things from my notes in the first half of the game, and would love to get your guys' input on it and see where you were at. The progression of Henry Lutowski has been great to see. On the screen that Ramir Johnson ran, to have him, and number one, the timing of the screens and the things that they're starting to use are really good. They still need to be fine-tuned. They still need to get better. But from what we used to have to what we have now, it's night and day. Like, they're able to, those things look smooth. And Rayola is able to hit his, different arm angles to throw them and complete them. But Lutowski, what he was able to do in open space, just to be downfield and get a bump on somebody. But then once the bump happened on the defensive back, and when you're lineman out there, you're hoping for a kill shot. You're hoping for the running back to come back, cut back, and that way that DB has to turn into you. But he gave a great shove, got the guy kind of moving toward the direction of Ramir, but then didn't give up on it, right? He followed it. And then he was able to just throw his big body in there, and he knocked off a couple more, and we're able to get a few more yards. So shout out to Lutowski. I'm very hard on him because I think he's got an immense amount of talent. One that was great for me, we saw Mazuka come in. We got back in the good old power I, Liebentritt at fullback, another good kick-out block. Probably not his best, but it was good. But sending Mazuka in at tight end and then just forcing that all to wash down. Hope that young man continues on his path where he can learn how to control some of the things that I think some people would say bother him, but to me, I would say just once he gets it under control, he's going to be back in the mix and back playing quite a bit. And it's just his anger, which anger in football is good. Controlled anger in football is great. So to see him back out there and rule and crew, give him another opportunity was awesome to see. So tip of the cap to that young man, tip of the cap to him. Because in today's world of football, he could bail and he could transfer out and he could say, I'm not playing anymore. I've played these all redshirt, and he may have redshirt already. I don't know. But he's a big, aggressive human being that I like to watch play because he plays nasty. And I think the more nasty you can get on the field, the better. That's his weird question observation regarding tackling. Are we timid at times? Are we uncertain? Or are we just not very quick? Quick sidebar before we answer that. Anthony, I agree. That screen they had set up to Fedone was awesome. And it was going to be great. It was. So those creative ways too, and that I'm good with that, and I'm passing it. All right, to Matt's question. The one thing I think Nebraska's defense was great at for so long last year was that level by level trust, level by level respect, level by level. You got me, I got you. I am my brother's keeper. Okay, we're just going to roll this thing. It's going to be good. I think there's just a few dents in that armor now. Right? For it to be good for Nebraska, run game needs to get stopped early. Right? Run game needs to be taken care of where it's 2 yards, it's 3 yards. And then the next level doesn't get as jumpy. Right? The tackling on the third level, I think, is the main point of this. When any amount of distrust, this is my opinion, creeps into your mind, all right? And I put this in a personal sense. I know on Friday night here, my crew, I will run up against anybody as far as operating a pizza business on that night. We take on the whole city of Omaha. These cats are going to go because they're built that way. Trust every one of them at every level. I don't even break sweat. There's little to nothing I worry about. My Saturday crew's a little younger. They're a little greener. They're trying to figure it out. They evolve into it. Okay. They're getting better, but my Saturdays are a stress day. So that would be how I equate it, right? So when we get on the field, if I'm in the back end, especially the safeties, okay, early the game, trust my guys, we're going to get this. All right, that was 5, no big deal. Okay, that was 8. Probably got to watch a little bit more down in the box. Now we're struggling a little bit. Okay, now I just got to be in the box. And then when they complete a pass, it's like, oh, shit, I got to sprint back out to that spot, and I got to make sure I make this play. And then I can't let it beat me, blah, 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 blah. And then they miss. Okay, now they still miss. If they miss to the direction that forces their opponent to run to where their help is coming from. So instead of a great stick, and I don't think this is a lot. I think there's just a couple glaring instances of it. But overall, that would be how I would set that up, Matt. He says, Barney Jr. screens are all positive plays. Oh, Jesus. Okay, sorry. That was my bad. I went back to Barney screens from a couple plays ago. Yes. Barney Jr., creative ways to get the ball. Okay, we talked about this last week, right? I said fake the little reverse toss handoff this way and run somebody back the other way. They on a really cool play design. They're buzzing him around in motion everywhere, shooting him, and then he went on his path. Then they gave it to Bonner, and he sprinted to the corner for the second touchdown. And his lead blocker was Barney Jr. He was out leading the way. So great to see. I like that kid a lot because he looks like he's just having a ball. He's just in it and having a time, blocking everybody and running the ball. So whatever creative ways they can get. Sorry about that. Got an itch. Whatever creative ways they can get him the ball, I'm in. One of the throws from Raiola in the game, he threw it to Nayor. My pronunciation is terrible. The patience he had on that throw at the time, right? He had a lot of time to throw the ball. But that was big time. I don't know about you guys, but when you watch and you see Raiola do his thing, to me, it's crazy that you're watching a guy that is as young as he is, that has seen so much. Like, are there a couple of times where I'd like to see him, rifle one in and grease one into the seam and make sure that there's no doubt that thing's caught? Yeah, sure. But he finesses them in, and he is very patient. Throws guys open. And the thought of throwing guys open is you're sitting there looking at it. He may be here and he just breaks just a little open. But in 5 yards, there's a gap where I'm just going to throw that ball to the gap. He's going to run into it, and then we're going to go get a few more yards. Like the patience that he showed on that with enough time to throw was great. So, I mean, as we evolve and we go, we don't need to be playing our best football right now. We need to be playing good, winning football, which is what we did. Good, winning football here with the next opponent, Indiana. And I 100% believe you win that game. But you get better week by week, right? Everybody loves the pregame prayer. The best line in that thing is day by day, we get better and better. When you wire that into your brain, that if I'm going to the facility, I am getting better. Somehow today I'm going to get better. I don't do the 1% thing because there's 365 days in a year. It's just too long to get better, 1% every day. But every day I go in that facility, if I get better, if I can put up a note that says, what am I better at today? Then if everybody gets in that mindset of what did I get better at today, then everybody's better and your team is better. It's more confident, and it just snowballs and it all goes. But we have a legit setup. We have a legit chance to just increase every year or every game. And by the end of the year, you're going to be shocked at what you have. Rule knows it. Rule knows they needed that game. He said it. I want to win a one-score game. You did. You gave your team handle adversity. Block, punt, scoop, score, touchdown. 2-score lead goes to 1-score lead. Now you're in it. A catastrophic mistake late in the game cannot be made because now you're in a tie game. In the past, they would have made the mistake. In the present, they don't make that mistake. It's impressive. They just got to keep grinding. Harry, I couldn't agree with you more. Harry Husker says number 5. It's a hard-nosed dude. Reminds me of Burrow. Works for me. It works for me. He reminds me more of, without probably the tackling prowess, but of a Rude. Like he gets in there. He does it. This one's a little different for me. Walter. After the season ends, Foley, Stat, and Barthel will be shown the door. All right, Google here, but I don't have a lot of issue with one of those on there. I understand everybody's frustration. Walter, hit the comments. What's the rub with the running back room? Like I like how the running backs go. Does the rotation system bother you? Because that one's interesting to me. I understand 2 of your 3. I don't personally think that's going to be true, but the running back, I got no issue with what the running backs do. Football coaching legend from the state of Nebraska, now living in Arizona, Dick Ray says, why is the tailback so far back? Hole seems to close before he gets there in the second half. Dick, Walter has commented to, I'm trying to process that. I agree. It seemed they were a little further back than normal. Something, I don't know, maybe they thought it was something to look at, maybe give the hole more time to open. I've talked about their vision. Maybe it's just something that the kid kept creeping back, which does happen. You know that in coaching. You know those kids will just start doing their own thing after a while, but it's just the little things you have to stay after for. Okay, Walter says, This is the least talented running back room I've ever seen at Nebraska. Ever is a long time. Dowdell, Ramir, and Emmett Johnson are. I'd take them. I'm glad we have them. But everybody's got their own opinion. I'm intrigued by it. Yeah, I've had no issue with the running back, but we'll see what happens. Raiola still needs. Oh yeah, Anthony agrees. Man, Raiola still needs a little zip on the ball, but that will come with age and hitting weights. Yeah, he's got to step into him. Boy, and I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of people now interested in Georgia high school football. I had probably the clip of the younger Raiola where he launches one far. I probably have 14 copies of that. Nah, probably closer to 24 copies of that in my inbox. And it says Dylan for 3, the next Raiola for more. Oh man. But all right. Second half notes. Oh, so my big halftime adjustments that I sent out on Twitter. I said stick with the run game. I said that things need to. We like, and I think this will fire everybody up, but when we get going and it's going well, we seem to want to try to get slick with stuff, right? And again, thank God Rutgers offensive coordinator wanted to get it into an offensive coordinator off against our offensive coordinator because they started doing things that they didn't need to do. They started doing I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I was very happy, but couldn't believe it was happening. They want to get like slick, like they want the play that, although like X's and O's wise, very sound, it'll work. But there's just some parts where like, hey man, probably like doing too much. Like you're doing a lot when your offensive line's kind of getting frothed up. The line of scrimmage is moving. Dowdell was able to just hit it a few times. And again, Dowdell on the swing, I'm sure looks great in practice. Dowdell, B gap to B gap, A gap to A gap, I'm sure looks amazing to me watching on the game tape. Because when he gets it and he sees it, he hits it. And if the offensive line has got a yard or two, he's hitting that thing full speed. Ramir on the edge, beautiful. Love it. The screen was amazing. Got him in open space, and you see how smooth he is when he runs. Ramir in between the tackle is tougher because he'll go in there, he'll hit, he'll do everything. But the comfort of it, the ease of it is just not there for me. And I need more Emmett. It's okay to put Emmett in the game. I know we got what the majority of us feel is a decent running back room with Walter Hayes. But he's just a good back. Get crazy if you want to. Ask for it last week. Put them both in the game. Put them both in there. Do your thing. Steve says, I'm aware that Rule wants to run the ball and clock in the second half of the game. Does there need to be a more balanced second half offense in order to move the chains? The second half offense need to be more balanced to move the chains. Understand we want to run the clock, but predictable. I'm good. I didn't. That's what I said, Ramir. Walter, I blocked the guy once already. Don't make me block you. The balance part of it, I'm fine with that. Okay. I don't think we're okay. We got to 4 minutes, right? You're up 2 scores, you're up 1 score, 4 minutes to go. Okay. It's called a 4-minute drill. It's something that's practiced. It's something that's worked on. Boys, we're going to bleed this thing out. Okay. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if listen, I know Rule wants to run it clock. You lose a lot more time. The reason I think he wants away from the passing in some instances is because then of what can go wrong, right? Interception, drop pass, stops the clock, those kind of things. But when you've done the work of the game, you've done the work, right? The body blows and the jabs and all that stuff have happened. Now it's time to lean. Now it's time to grind. And now it's time to go. Okay. So that's what I think he was looking for in some of those instances. If you have to, then once, and this is all dictated by the safety, it's all dictated by where the safety goes. If the safety creeps down, Walter, I was just kidding, by the way. So do I. If the safety then starts to creep, now you hit the path. That's where your balance comes from. But to get that safety anxious, like our safeties are a little bit anxious right now, you've got to run it and you've got to pound and you've got to make sure that he's nervous. Like he can't sit back there and be content and help in coverage. He's got to feel uneasy and he's got to want to help in the box. That 4-minute drill, I was super excited when it happened in the game. I was like, okay, here we go. We got to get 4. If we get 3 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock, over. There's nothing they can do. Okay, nothing. But what happened? Came out. We went 3 and out. And we punted. And so I was like, oh, Christ. Here we go. Right? So that would be situational football. When you play that, you may not net anything out of it. Because I don't think there's any way we were kicking a field goal. But when you can get that situational football, that 4-minute drill, we get rid of that 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You put that team in a spot where they're going to have to go above and beyond anything that they do. Now you're like, that was a big thing to me for a progression. It's still something they need to work on, obviously. But that next 4-minute situation, I'm looking for that to be different. I'm looking for that to be something that they can go at, and then it just becomes different. When we get in that next 4-minute situation, they run 3.5 off the clock. And the best formation in football, hit the comments. If anybody wants to know, let me know what your best formation in football is, because I'll tell you, and it's a real simple answer. I'll even answer a couple questions here while you think about it. Give me the best formation in football in the comments. Robert agrees with Walter that the running back room is bad. Former running back buddy of mine, who I hold very high regard. You hear him a lot on radio and on the broadcast. Says that running back room is very good. Wes is the smartest guy on the chat. It is the victory formation. 4-minute offense. Drive that thing down. Brian's right with it. 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Your timeouts are gone. There's nothing you can do. And coaches love it. Term has a signal for it when he uses it. It's great. The boys get hyped up. The victory formation is the best formation in football. If you can run a 4-minute offense and bleed out the clock and get rid of all their timeouts and take their will because they want to stop you because they're trying to win, it's a mind shift. It's a statement. Hey, for 4 minutes, we kept the ball away from you. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing left for you. We're in victory formation now. Enjoy your flight back to Piscataway. We wish you all the best. There'll be food waiting for you at the locker. So that's something that I would love to see them work on and get better at. John says, you guys need to hit the like button. I can't be the only one that enjoys this help at all. Don't worry about it. Hey, if you hit it, hit it. If you don't, don't. I just like doing this. It's pretty fun. Except the tech stuff. That sucks. But it's one reason why I'm not on Heard Out. They took away all the producers. And I was basically doing it by myself anyway. So I was like, what the hell do I need you guys for? I'll figure this out eventually. Might take me a couple years. Brian says, I like to see a quick hitter to the tight end seam or something quick to Carter Nelson. I do like Carter Nelson. Down here. Oh, sorry, Robert. I didn't know you were agreeing with the pronunciation. Yeah, my pronunciation sucks. I admit that, but my bad on that one, Robert. Where did that one go? Walter, we will agree on that. Piscataway is a bit rough. Harry says, did Nate Barkature enter the witness protection program? No targets. It's tough. I agree. I think a fun set down at the goal line. I think it would kind of cue people up. Bring in, all due respect to everybody else. I know we've got tall receivers. Bring Mazuka in at tight end. Put Fedone at the wing. Put Carter Nelson split out by himself. Probably go one back. And then put Barkature on the other side. You got a lot going on there. All right. And I know I love the fullback. Full bias, believe in trip fullback. Scott Kidd, love him. Great family. Take him out. So now I got Fedone at wing. I got two tall ass dudes that can jump on the edge. So I can throw a jump ball either way. I got my toughest lineman at tight end. I'm not going to throw it to him, but could still run it. And then Fedone can circle around, become the lead blocker once. Then the next time he just pops in the end zone for a little pop pass. So I got two jump balls. I get to use one of my more versatile athletes. I like it. Somebody asked, is there a run game coordinator? That's from Larry. I don't think so, Larry. I think Donovan has a lot of input on run game, which it's how it should be. In the olden days, the way the system worked is T.O. would survey the field. Everybody would have a suggestion kind of queued up. So Frank would have something, and TG and T.O. saw the game the same. And then Milt would have something, and Coach Young that'd just be too many. But T.O. from the field level saw the field crazy good. Like all the great play callers I've ever been around, they can see it from field level. Or you can give them number identifications. And it's just jargony, but say, hey, when you get in pro, they're playing under, or they're playing this, or they're playing that. Their brain processes it, and they know the gap that's the bubble, and they know how to take advantage of it. It's pretty cool. But they say, Milt, what do you like? And he would, of course, say something that he knew we were great at executing. Frank, what do you like? And then Frank would say something. And he'd have in his mind what he liked. And whoever matched it, and if they all three matched it, they're like, yeah, this is going to be a great play. This is going to be awesome. But then he had the final say. He trumped everybody. So to watch them operate that way, like that's cool. I do not think they have a run game coordinator. I think they have input in the run game. I don't know on the headsets how they operate. So I don't know what all happens there, but the run game concepts, I think, are good. I think the thing that I would focus on more on that, Larry, would be the execution, right? Would be what I'm just going to call the Mazuka. Like, who's going to get in there and just whoop ass? Who's going to get in there and be the baddest dude on the field? Like that kind of mindset mentality. Like, how am I going to attack this? How am I going to make this? The play called in the huddle. Said this everywhere I've ever coached. Whatever they call in the huddle is the greatest play you've ever heard in your life. It's the greatest play that will ever exist. Go execute it. Nobody's called a play and said, hey, we're going to run this thing that's going to lose 3. Right? They feel confident in that play. You should feel confident they called it. Then you go execute. Oh, but the defense is moving around. They're doing this. They're doing that. Doesn't matter. Because I've done technique and I've done repetition. I've lifted weights and I'm an athlete. I'm kind of competitive. Hate losing. Fuck that guy across from me. I'm going to beat his ass. Right? That's that's kind of where I'm at. But I know Donnie is in a lot of the design of it. I like the design of the plays. It's just at times the execution of it just got to really amp up. It's got to get going. It's got to be better. It just has to be Nebraska. Like now they're working toward it, and you see some of them that look great. Some of them look phenomenal. But then all of them need to look great. Everything that comes in needs to look great. That's all rewind. Like if you guys learn anything from listening to me ramble on anything, know that football, yes, is a very physical game. But when you get your mentals right and you think you are unbeatable and you believe it, the sky is the limit. You can go a really, really long way because you believe. I'll go back to this game real quick. But if it and it was at the same time, so everybody's got multiple TVs, so we're watching back and forth. Unless you were at the game, you didn't get to see it. Vandy didn't fear Bama. Vandy on the goal line wasn't getting cute. They were too tight, running like right down Bama's throat, carrying Bama dudes in the end zone. They believed in their game plan. They believed what was going to happen. Mine's a crazy, crazy thing, man. If you believe it, you can do it. I think the old phrase, you believe it, you can achieve it. But their brains are just continuing to rewire. And if by the end of the year they all believe it, you get that cat back in there somewhere with a little bit more attitude, and then they all kind of start to build on that, and they all kind of start to feed off of it. It's awesome. Back to the comments. Steve says, did you notice how Rutgers played victory formation? Did Shiano? Yeah, I did. I was waiting for it. I was like, oh man, please snap the ball. Benny Scott wasn't real wild about that one either. He knew what was coming. And he was, when we got in victory formation, after the defense did their job, Rutgers, and this is, Shiano tried this shit in the NFL. Like, tried it in the NFL. But they were hunkered down, dudes in 4-point stances. And when you're on the offensive line and you're in victory formation, hey, dog, this is over. I don't need any heroes. Cool your shit. Nope. Shiano is sending the house. And so you want to be in a 4-point stance yourself. And as a center, you just want to make sure, like, I have to move my hands so fast. And I'm at a disadvantage, so I'm going to get smoked here. But I'm going to hold the ball between my legs, try to defend myself until the quarterback rips the ball out of my hand. Because I got to make sure this quarterback center exchange is perfect. So you just fire that thing back there with all your might, and you just touch hands and like take it, and then get back and put a knee down, because I don't want to do this. You want to run around for 3 or 4 seconds to do that, because I don't want to run another play because they're going to do this to me again. But yeah, Shiano loves that, man. But I used to have it. Oh, I have to get another one. I had a shirt. It's got a stork eating a frog. The frog's head is in the stork's mouth, but the frog's hand is around the stork's throat. It says never give up. That's Shiano. He 100% thinks that could happen. And in the UConn Temple game, you saw that you should never give up. UConn gonna suffer an embarrassing loss to Temple. Temple's at the 1-yard line. They run quarterback sneak. I have no idea how, but the Temple quarterback fumbled, and UConn picked it up. You have a defeatist mentality, and you don't think you're going to win, and you don't want to try, and the last, oh my God, they're at the 1-yard line, they're going to score, we're going to lose to Temple. And you just don't give 100, you give 98, and you're the reason that they score. They didn't. They fumbled. UConn returned for a touchdown. I don't know the spread on that game. There's probably some people anxious that he either did run in the end zone or he fell down, one way or the other. But the mind is a crazy thing, man. The more you believe, the more you can do. Robert says, with the exception of the Purdue game, the O-line seems to get out physical late in game. Was hoping to see better run game in the fourth quarter. It's a valid point. The technical side of me, like the offensive line coach in me. Oh, so Temple's covering anyway. Walter, what was the over-under? The technical side of me, right? So the reason it appears that they get pushed around late in games, I think they'll get to a stalemate. And when the stalemate happens, now the for lack of a better term, sumo starts. So when I'm at a stalemate, if I can get extension with my arms, I can widen my base. The strongest position the body can ever be in is a C spine, right? So your spine bends backward into a C formation. If you ever watched all the old World's Strongest Men, when they picked up the Atlas stone, instantly they get that to their chest, they arch their back, and then they just walk it up to the stand. If I can get my arms locked, my feet wide, and in a C spine, I, at worst case scenario, have a stalemate. I cannot get driven back. I cannot get thrown to the side. I've used this technique with little guys. I've used this technique with big guys. It works flawlessly. But when they get to the point, sometimes the base narrows. The shoulders, instead of being under, like pinching your lat and reaching and grabbing, they get out over the top where your shoulder is the main source of power. So if we get inside and we arch that back and we extend the arm, now you're just waiting for a pressure to change. And this is way high level, not high level, but this is way coach speaky. Now you're waiting for that guy to disengage or relax. And you can feel that. When you have your hands on him, your arms are extended, he relaxes or reaches. The millisecond he does that, whichever way he reaches, you pull that arm in and you shove that one out. And then pancake. If he eases up and tries to go backwards, then you just sprint at him. Pancake. So just little like technique stuff. I didn't realize that before the game, we're playing bull in the ring. I love it. I thought it was phenomenal. But those are things that in practice, now bull in the ring is not a technical drill. It is just like who's tougher. In practice, you got to get him in those situations. Like you got to get him in those spots where they're using this technique. And as you're watching, it's hard to watch everybody at once. But you got to get your helpers or your GAs or everybody else to make sure they're watching it too. You watch those two, I'll watch these three. And then you can pick at that, right? Hey, got to get locked out, got to get base, C-spine, those kind of things. You can say those to them. So you are correct. We don't seem to be as get after it as we are early. But that's, again, when the 4-minute drill works, that will be the reason. Robert, you have the reason why they will be getting after it like that, because they've cleaned up all those technique things. Matt says, interesting that Nebraska is leading the Big Ten in sacks and tackle for loss. Indiana's second in both categories. O-lines will be deciding factor on the 19th, but that's true of every game. Yes. O-line, D-line wins it all. The rest of it's all nice and cute. It's window dressing. The big daddies up front determine your success or failure. It's a common theme of offensive line, defensive line, both base. Got to get some technical work done on base. I think Knighton's done a great job. The Williams kid story is awesome. It's one that you get guys like Bullock, Williams, and now you've got history, right? Took a safety, moved him down a linebacker. Just tell him, hey, read this, play with your hair on fire, hit people. Just heads up, you're not going to win every battle, but if you win the majority of them, we're going to win. You're our leader. The Williams kid, hey, man, we know we kind of found you on a tryout, but you're going to be our guy. We're going to put you in the fire. You've worked hard. You deserve this. See the kid get emotional and have a great bond with Knighton is cool. Now it's a thing where we got to Continually every day. Technique. Hey, Nash. Hey, Ty. Hey, Judy. Hey, Van Poppel was in the game. Hey, Van Poppel. Great effort here. Fantastic. Let's clean this up. Let's get back to this good wide base. Right? Ty, great swim move here. Next play. Got to make sure we get back to this. Hey, Scott, we lost our feet here. Got to work those hands. Let's not get out over our skis. Let's not lean. Henry, great job on the screen. Let's clean this up on these base blocks. Absolutely love the third down a short call, just fullback dive. But when you watched them, right, when they knew that's fullback dive and they just fired, no thinking in that play. No thinking at all. Going that way, fast and hard. Easy first down. I think it was out of the extra ramp, because that's out of an offset setup. This is a dive. Nothing fancy. Open, hand it to him, first down. Love it. But so you eliminate the thought of it. I don't have time to think on this. There's no steps going forward. Now you drill the steps toward the steps or steps. Second nature. It can happen. They have it. But you got to work on those. Oh, Johnny Boy says, play calling affects offensive line play. When you think you have the game won and you let the guy that sucks at play calling plays, that changes how the offense works. Those that have been with us for a while, John will develop a hit list through the season. John will stick to that hit list for all of the season. And he will remind me every Sunday that list exists. And Sat has made the list. That's on a lot of people's lists, I know. But Johnny was on this one early. I do agree. I think when you get into rhythm with play calls, your players feel at ease. Like they just kind of get going. And then everybody's just in step, in lockstep. I would play, a thing you could do to work on it is play it more situational in practice. Again, I don't go down to practice a lot, so I don't know. They may be doing this. Okay. But if they're getting into that rhythm in practice, now the rest of it becomes simple, right? The rest of it, you go. We've done this. We know what this is. I know the steps. I went against our guys who are really good. Like I would make that alive. I would take whatever I feel I want to probe Indiana when we play the next game with. So, all right, boys, we're going 1v1, 10 plays. Offense, these 10 plays are going to be very similar for you. You're going to see these probably the first series of the game. So let's get these figured out. Our defensive line is very good. Our defensive line is good. Now we're going to run into games. We're going to move the ball, game situation. Got refs out here. Let's go. Get this to where now we know this is how it's going to go. I would do that every week. And watch what happens. Their confidence level will go up, and then it'll just be better. That's how I would navigate it. And then you almost get a chance to say, hey, that play wasn't that good. Let's take that out of what we're thinking. And then it's a way for coaches to pare down the play calls. Harry says, I know off script, but bikes up. 17-0, amazing start. Robert says, Raiola just seemed off, like his head wasn't in the game. Fell off more after the INT. Wonder if it's something physical or it was Shiano's scheme confusing him like Rule claimed. I think it was the first time we saw he was flustered, right? Shiano's a bitch, man. Shiano was a good coach. The last time Rutgers was relevant, they were chopping wood. This is not a statement about anything on Shiano. This is just who was the player. But Ray Rice was there at the time. I think they had another Italian quarterback. But they were good. They played good defense. They ran the ball. He knows what he can do. And he, as far as a teacher goes, he must be probably one of the better teachers out there because they were running a lot of different look. Like, honestly, a lot of look I don't think a lot of staffs can pull off. And he did get a little bit frazzled. Not frazzled. He got a little flustered. But that's okay. This isn't, it's good. It's learning, it's growth. It's put that one in the memory bank. Because if your goal is to be NFL guy, go try to play. Go try to play Harry's Vikings. Right? When your two safeties are down in the box, and you think, oh man, I got zero. I got zero coverage. I got man v man. I am chucking this thing so deep, I'm about to score a touchdown. At the snap of the ball, both corners bail to too high safety look. Both safeties bail to the flat players now, then take the place of the corner. So basically, those two just switch jobs. Now where are you going to throw it? Because you wanted to throw it there, but now you can't throw it there. So it's all part of his growth. It's all part of his maturation. He's going to get better at it. And the thing that I really like, I don't see him as a regression guy. I see him as a progression guy. I think this will be the last time we see that happen to him. Is he going to see multiple looks and probably get a little flustered? Yeah. But is he going to snap out of it? Like, boom. I'm going to go there. Players are human. Okay. And this did happen in the past. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. You're going to get a call from whomever is calling plays. I'm not saying he did this. We're going to be like, oh, shit. Why are we running this? Why are we doing this? And this was great when it happened back in the day, because if the QBs, whoever they were, didn't like it, and they would audible out, so they would change the play. If you wanted to change that play, you better come over to the sideline and be able to eloquently enunciate why you changed said play. And then when you got to film, you better hope what you eloquently enunciated matched what was seen on the TV. Because if the big redhead didn't see what you saw on the TV, you're going to have a lot of explaining to do on why you changed the play. Right? So it was great. It was fantastic, because we was like, why'd you change that? He's like, guys, I didn't want to run it. Oh, good luck with that one on Monday. Yeah. Hope the film matches. And then the QBs are just cocky and like, it won't. Don't worry about it. Okay. You ain't going to yell at me. But, it's just the game. We've seen him calm. We've seen him poised. He just got a little frustrated. Frustration's going to happen. Deal with it and move on. I would guess that we probably won't see it happen to him again. John says, Howard rushed for 145 against Rutgers. Howard, just saying. Yeah. Okay, let's get to Rudy Raiola. Yesterday, he skittish all game long. He wouldn't set his feet. Make easy, simple throws to keep the drive going. Is he afraid of getting hit? I don't think he's afraid of getting hit, Kenny. It's just like anything. Just had an off day. And when your main guy, like your player, has an off day, and you grind out just an ugly win, you take it. Because now, and I don't think he has many bad days. But now when you get into it, he's having a good day, and everybody kind of falls onto that. Now you're cooking. Mike says there were some cool plays called in the first half. There were. The setup and design of them was really good. Like, I hope we still use the screen that they were going to run to the tight end. I think that play and the quarterback you have that can execute it. Because the thing with that screen, you're letting everybody go. You are creating a mini jailbreak. Jailbreak screen is wide receiver darts up, he ducks back inside, and all the linemen run to the side, and then you're just trying to make a tunnel. Tunnel screen is another thing that people call it. But you're creating that from the tight end spot, right? So everybody's going to get beat. The distance from the defensive lineman to the quarterback is quick. Now the throwing lane out, nice and wide open. the throwing lane to a tight end, an inline tight end, is cloudy. So you got to get some zip on it, which you did. Dropped down, zipped it over, got to going fast. Sometimes that screen's going to come over the top because the defensive line is too far into it. So I love that play. I agree with you. There were some. They've got to work some more on smoothing them out, running them in adverse situations. So then it's more game-like. So that would be what I was. But yeah, the creativity of that play I'm good with. It's just the consistency or the setup of it. I think that will be a play that is very successful for us down the road. And this one was kind of had me. I do think Nebraska's guys, well, if you watch Penn State, UCLA, Penn State put an offensive lineman in the slot, ish, right now, quite the slot. They motioned him across, and in the end game, he's just a pulling guard. But he had a 8-yard run at this poor old defensive end from UCLA. And little buddy knew what he had to do. He knew he had to take on this big monster that has an 8-yard run at me. You could see him process it in the film. He's like, oh, shit, man, here he comes. So he kind of steps and he gathers and he goes in and he gives it everything. And then physics came into play. And the Penn State offensive lineman that was in the slot in motion just rolled him. And then little buddy probably thinks he's like, I'm good. He ain't gonna hit me again. He's down on the ground. He just smacks him again. But I didn't think we used some of the latter, like the pulling stuff that we always use with our offensive linemen as much. I have to go back and watch. But it's a win. At the end of the day, we got a W. We are 5-1. We are one game away from bowl eligibility. One game. And it's awesome. We're 4-1, whatever we are. But we're almost there. We're almost to a bowl game. You guys know my brain gets a little scattered on Sunday. My main guy, Alex Narducci, had to go to a wedding in Michigan. And so the old man has been pulling quite a few shifts this week, so might be a little bit out of shape. But we're close, right? Yeah, we are 5-1. We're one game away from a bowl. All that money everybody saved up is about to get dumped on some poor, unsuspecting city. But let's win this one. Move the goal to a warm weather bowl game. No cold weather bowl game. A bowl game should be in a temperature that's warmer than where you live. And in December, it's a little chilly in Nebraska. But we did it. Guys, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for participating, listening, helping me out, relaying messages. And I will definitely get these worked out. Hopefully next week, for those that are on X, that follow Husker Hangover on X or follow me on X, we'll get it over on that platform as well. It's a slow roll. If you guys want to message me on Husker Hangover, I don't know how to check any messages on YouTube because I don't spend that much time on YouTube. On X, if we can get, just say 15, 20 people put it together and you want to do something next Sunday morning, I'll throw together some breakfast pizzas. I'm sure I can get somebody to come down and make some Bloody Marys. And I'll try to find a speaker, but I would probably need to know that by Wednesday. We'd have that figured out by Wednesday. We'll come down and talk to somebody else besides me. See what they got to say about their view of the season. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for your patience. I got to get after it here at Paisans. I hope you have a fantastic Sunday. I hope your NFL team is doing amazing. And I will talk to you guys maybe next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll just see if I can get a bunch of the fellas. Get a bunch of the fellas to come in and hang out and see what we can do. Love you guys. Have a great one.